Hi and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptid's Roost. Let's just take a moment's silence for all the haters, Karens and the trolls. That's enough. Be sure to check out the blooper reel at the end of the video, which is then followed by the end screen where you will find more videos listed. Don't forget to hit the like button and drop a comment for the algorithm. It would be very much appreciated. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. The Cupid Club. This awesome story is written by Mac Ralston. 3 minutes on the clock. Go! The whistle blew, reverberating off of the many candlelit tables within the posh restaurant. I turned to her and smiled from ear to ear, glancing down at her name tag, Chelsea. Did she think I was staring at her breasts? Okay, maybe I was, but I was just trying to get her name. Chelsea. Got it. She does have nice breasts though. I looked up at Chelsea. Maybe I do believe in love at first sight. Hi. Hello, she said, tugging her hair behind her ear. She was rather cute. They say that with attractive women, it's best to be confident and to have a joke in your back pocket. They like funny guys. I know because my old dorm buddy used to get laid every night. And he was a very confident, funny guy. He told me all about women. Now, how did that joke go? It's nice to meet you, Chelsea. It's good to meet you too. She looked down at my name tag. Justin. I smiled when she locked eyes with me again. You know, I can't help but think you look a lot like my pillow. I grinned, remembering the joke. I think. Why's that? Because you look so soft and warm and would look great on my bed. She gave me an awkward smile, shooting a hot breath out of her nose. I don't think she got the joke. I take it you don't do this often, she said. Well, no, I don't. You? She shook her head quietly. I started twiddling my thumbs, waiting for her to say something. Is she going to say something? At a second glance, I don't think I did love her at first sight anyways. The whistle blew. I'm a go with the flow kind of girl, you know? I mean, I'm a Scorpio after all. I should be. Anyways, I love children. I want 4 actually. I got the names picked out and everything. Oh, and dogs. Maybe 2 or 3 dogs. Do you have any pets? I snapped out of my daze, catching the woman's soft blue eyes. Donnie was right. The prettiest ones are the most work. I used to have some hermit crabs. They died though. Oh, she said. My niece has hermit crabs. She nodded. I nodded. The whistle blew. Well, what do you do for work? I took a swig of water down, clearing my throat. I'm a cook. Oh, like a chef? Something like that. Wow, it's hard to meet a man who cooks, she grinned. I'm just a teacher. Kindergarten. I love kids. Oh? What school? Duke Elementary. Oh, okay. I work at Hanager High. As a chef? She teased. Cafeteria, yeah. The whistle blew. I grabbed my bag. Love sucks. I was about to stand up and leave. A woman sat down in front of me. My heart hiccuped for a split second at what was the most striking woman I had ever laid eyes on. Okay, I still believe in love at first sight after all. Hi there, she said. I glanced down at her name, Jasmine. Hi, I said, talking smooth, trying to not look at her breasts, though she didn't seem to mind. How's this going for you? She said. To be honest, this sucks. I'm never doing speed dating again. Same, she nodded. I don't like fancy restaurants either, she said, as she pointed to the elegant decor of the place and rolled her eyes. You know, I wouldn't have to do this again if you just take me on an actual date. She winked. I swallowed. Well, what do you have in mind? I dunno. Coffee? I don't drink coffee. I shrugged. She rolled her eyes again. I'm helping you out here. She squinted at my name tag. Justin, you should make a move. I should? She nodded urgently at me. Okay then, how's coffee tomorrow sound? Fine, she smiled with her voice. Should I just drink coffee anytime tomorrow, or... I stuttered, choking back some spit. How's 9 sound? Where at? I don't know. I don't drink coffee. She reached into her purse with a smile and pulled out a stick of gum, popping the strip into her mouth and penning something down on the wrapper. Here's the address for the coffee place. You'll find my number underneath it. I smiled contently, puckering my lips. Should I kiss her now, or what? Maybe I should. She's been so nice, after all. I extended my hand. Great. It was great meeting you. Same, she nodded, tossing her pen into her purse and standing to her heels. I'll see you tomorrow, Justin. With the flip of her hair, she strode away from the table. I did it! I had a date. The bathroom was about as expectedly nice as the rest of the place. It smelled like rich people's soap and whatever kind of deodorant they shoved in that little basket by the sink. I really needed to unload my bladder from all the water I had nervously drunk, and maybe a dash of free cologne wouldn't hurt, considering my pores had flushed out all of the stuff I used this morning. And I did use a lot of it. There were one of those bathroom attendant guys sitting on a stool next to the sink, armed with enough creams and elixirs to freshen up an entire island nation. I always hated those guys, listening to me piss, watching me wash my hands and doing nothing, and then expected a buck. I never bit. How'd it go out there? He said as I zipped up, interrupting the jazz tune ringing in from the speakers, trying to stir up a conversation. And my money. Fine, I said, walking over to the sink and eyeing myself in the mirror. I could see the man nodding a congratulatory nod to me in the peripheral of the mirror. So, you gonna get some pussy then? I turned to face him in the mirror, my face halfway between a chuckle and genuine concern. Excuse me? I said, dumbfoundedly. I said, he stood from the stool, are you gonna get some pussy? Or just be a pussy about it? We must have stared at each other for what felt like a solid minute before I said anything. I just wanted a date, that's all. He shook his head with a gruff laugh, retrieving something from his pocket. That's never all. You are a hot-blooded guy, aren't you? Yeah. Well then, that's not all. Where's Romeo taking Juliet on this little date, huh? Coffee. Coffee. The graveyard shift date. Brother, you've got a lot to learn, he snipped, looking me up and down and noting my inexperience oozing from me. You really like this girl, huh? Yeah, I admittedly said. I think I'm in love. Hold up, kid, he said, patting the air. Don't go using the big word on me. You don't even know this girl. I know enough, I said. She's really sweet and nice and... That's that pussy talk I'm talking about. What's your name? I turned to face him now. He read the tag. Justin, listen. What you need is a little help. A lot of help. But sometimes the best help comes in small packages. He held up his hand, a small red pill palmed in the centre of it. What's that? Viagra? He laughed at me. No, it's better than that. We call it the Arrow. He grinned. Who's we? Just a club I'm part of. The Cupid Club. That gentleman's club off of 16th Street. You familiar? I shook my head. Well, there's more where that came from. If you need it. When you need it. Consider that a free trial. It doesn't last forever. I nodded, accepting the tiny pill, as the man escorted me to the bathroom door. You're in good hands now, Justin. He knows what he's talking about, the man said as a smile parted his lips. Who's he? The bathroom door closed in my face. I sat up all night thinking about what that mysterious man had said. About the pill, the club, about myself. It was well after 2 AM before I decided to take the pill. I figured it was a little risk for a potentially large reward. After all, there was an entire gentleman's club dedicated to it. They wouldn't lace it with anything, would they? I had no idea of what it did, but I knew I needed it. If I screwed up this date, I'd probably never find love. I sat on the corner of my bed for 15 minutes waiting for the drug to take effect. I didn't feel any different. Was I supposed to? Maybe it was a delayed effect. Maybe it was a dud. Maybe it was just a placebo, a confidence booster. If it was though, it didn't work on me. I flipped back onto my bed, tugging the covers over me as I turned onto my side, wondering what the hell I just put into my body. And that's when I saw it. Him. A baby. Specifically a blubbery baby. It was standing. No, wait. Floating. Did it have wings? How you doing, baby? It said in an oddly adult voice, twanged like a talk show host. Oh wait, I'm the baby. You're just an adult virgin, aren't you? I stared up in bewilderment. I'm definitely tripping out right now. Well, not for long, the baby said, as clear as an infomercial, flapping down towards me, scrambling my hair with his little infant hand. You've got a date with destiny, as they say. Where did you come from? I said. It was all I could say. The baby tisked at me. Well, when a man and a woman love each other, it stopped, leaning towards me. Need I say more? No birds, no bees? You are post-puberty, right? I nodded. Hey, that's good. Hard to tell sometimes. Just making sure your, plumbing's working. You're gonna need it. It winked. What do you mean? Well, whose baby do you think I am? We don't just grow on trees, you know? Wait, I interrupted, You and my baby? Well, figuratively speaking anyway. I'm Cupid. Hello? You know, god of desire, son of Venus, the goddess of love, and Mars, the god of war. Yada yada yada. I mean, all is fair in love and war, but who'd have thought war was in love? And I don't just mean figuratively, huh? But you just said... I know what I said, Cupid interrupted. And I wasn't lying. I come to you in the form of your mortal spawn. Combination of Justin and Jasmine Filium. Wait, I said. We get married? You have sex, Cupid said. I'm the god of desire, not schmaltzy lovey-dovey shit, alright? I nodded. Walk with me, the baby said, floating past my bed. I stood, following the baby over to the mirror. It stopped right before the glass, turning to me with raised, peach fuzzy brows. You think you're gonna get laid with that cut? I scanned myself in the mirror, realising that my 3 AM due was not the best look. I shrugged. Take it from the guy who is quite literally the god of desire. Did I mention that? Look, women like edge, mystery. You gotta keep this chick on her toes. Keep the bangs, lose the sides. They love it. Are you sure? Of course I'm sure. You aren't. That's why I'm here, kid. To help you. Help me with what? The baby floated to my eye level, shaking his head with a sigh as he did. He looked at me very intently. I'm gonna be real with you, kid. You're a nice guy, but nice guys finish last. And I don't want to see you last, baby. But I thought love was kind and patient and... No, Cupid said. That's not love, that's... He thought. That's just pussyfooting around what you really want. The baby crossed his arms, flapping his wings closer to me. You don't get what you want by being kind or patient. You get it by action. You get that? I nodded, too stupefied to comment. Good. Then you're gonna go to that date tomorrow and listen to me. Understand? But won't she... He shook his head before I had time to finish. See, I'm in your head. She won't see me. She can't. Just do what I say. Got it? Did I really have a choice? The chill of the morning air forced my hands to cup around the mug of smouldering coffee before me. It was a quaint little place, so small in fact that it felt like the walls were closing in on me. I was nervous. Sit up straight, would ya? Cupid's voice said as he floated past my ears behind me. Puff your chest out. Come on, like show and tell. I'll tell you how to show it. Jasmine walked in and waved at me as she removed her little beanie. I waved back. Don't wave. What are we, 5? Cupid snapped. Shut up, I said, cutting off the baby as Jasmine approached, opening her arms. Don't hug her, Cupid said. Keep it mysterious. She'll love it. I remained, hands still clutched around the coffee. Jasmine awkwardly sat down. So, how's your coffee, coffee hater? She smiled. I lifted it and took a sip. Tell her it tastes like shit and that you could make her better coffee at home, Mr. Chef, the baby's voice said from over my shoulder. It's okay, I said. Good pick, Jasmine, but you know, I could probably brew something fresh at my place sometime too. I audibly heard Cupid facepalm behind me. Yeah? Well, I'm glad you like it, she nodded, taking a sip of hers. I was nervous you were gonna hate it. You did, Cupid said in my ear. I shook him off. So, how's everything been with you? I said. Fine. As far as, living with your parents is. Hey, it beats paying rent. She shrugged, taking another sip, prompting me to do the same. I know the feeling, I said. At this point, I could tell Cupid was wearing thin. Maybe the pill was wearing off. Tell her, he demanded, that she needs to come over to your place, Justin. You need to get this bitch home. I stood to my feet, taking in a deep breath. Will you excuse me for just 1 second? I said, hurrying off into the bathroom and leaving poor Jasmine behind. I pushed the door open aggressively, nearly knocking it into some guy's face. I'm sorry, I said. All good, brother, he replied. Don't be sorry, Cupid said, trailing me. He should have watched where he was going. I turned to the mirror and pressed my balled up fist into the cold wall, eye direction of Cupid as he glided towards me in the air. The image grew blurry as my eyes soon filled with frustrated tears. I just wanted him to go away. Oh, come on, don't cry. I'm the baby, remember? Shut up, I snapped through gritted teeth. In the silence of Cupid's delayed response, I heard Jasmine's voice rise from within the walls of the bathroom. She was laughing. I scurried over to the heavy door, cracking it open, slowly. Jasmine was seated across from some guy. That guy. The one I almost hit with the door. He was flirting with her and doing a pretty damn good job at it. She was into him. See? You should have listened to me, kid, Cupid said as I watched this stranger swoop in on my date. I'd slammed that door right into that poor bastard's face. Bullseye. I said shut up, Cupid. No, you need to listen to me, alright? I might be the baby here, but you're just an infant when it comes to women. You know nothing. And you're about to let the only woman that'd let you touch her get swooped up. Not on my watch, he said, pulling an arrow from behind him and aiming it at me. With one draw, the arrow shot into my back. It wasn't a physical arrow per se, but somehow it hurt like a fierce, sharp and hot flash of anger flashed over me. If this was fight or flight, I'd choose fight. The hell's going on here? I said as I slapped the table with my hands, looking from Jasmine to whoever the hell this guy was. Justin, Jasmine said. This was my old partner in chem class back in high school, Richard. It's been years since I've seen him. Wow, good to meet you, Dick, I slickly said, extending my hand and squeezing his tighter than he could mine. I looked at Jasmine with a wink. She smiled. Nice to meet you too, he said, noticing my grip. Thanks for the door back there, he nodded as he gestured towards the men's room. I can help you with the next door too, Cupid said in my ear. I can help you with this door. I smiled, pulling him towards the coffee shop's door and kicking it open. He nervously chuckled. Let me just grab my coffee, he said, reaching towards the cup in front of Jasmine, who was staring up at the two of us, dumbfoundedly. I got it, Cupid said. I got it, I replied, reaching down and grabbing the coffee, removing the lid and stopping. I looked over my shoulder and Cupid was gone. The hot cup began burning my hand, and the position it was in made it look like I was about to fling the smoking liquid into Richard's face. He nervously smiled as he took the cup from me. Jasmine watched him with wide, fearful eyes. Thanks, I got it, he said, placing the lid back on top and turning to Jasmine with a shake and a wink. It was good to see you, Jazz. You too, she replied, eyebrows still raised. He left the tiny shop. I sat back down. You all right? She said, uneasily cracking a nervous smile. Fine. She nodded. I folded my arms. That's good, she said as she scratched her face, checking her watch. Well, look, I've got to get some errands done, but maybe we can catch some dinner sometime? That would be great. I nodded. Jasmine stood, nodded back, and left. I blew it. Knock, 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 knock. No answer. Again, knock, knock. The door of the Cupid Club swung open to some preppy middle-aged man. What? There are no girls here yet? Okay. We open at 3. He began to shut the door, but I stopped him, looking at him intently. The pills. I need more, I said. The, arrow. The man looked me up and down and noticed my desperation. He invited me in. The place was dark and dank, accented by the sheen of silver poles glimmering in the black light tubes that hung from the ceiling. There were about 4 to 5 men standing around, watching me. They puffed their chests and raised their brows. One of them, an older and wrinklier man, approached me, dangling a medicinal bottle from one of his tired hands. He knew why I was there. Who sent you? He said curtly. I thought. Some guy from the bathroom at Amour's. Jeez, we're in fucking downtown too, he said, shaking his head. That was probably Ernie. Downtown is his jurisdiction. He popped open a bottle with his jittery fingers. Do you take this stuff too? He shook his head again. Most of these guys do, he said. I used to. 50 years. I don't have the use anymore, son. Hell, I haven't gotten it up since Bush was in office. He grumbled to himself with a deep, cackly laugh, nudging some of the pills out of the bottle. No, I'm just in it for the green, but I do miss it. How's it been working for you? Fine, I said. I feel so much more aggressive when I use it, but more powerful, I guess. He nodded as he listened, as if he had been through the same thing. Yep, you do that to ya, he said. Take you from some beta pussy man to a real man's man, you know? I nodded. Now, how much do these cost? I asked as he tossed a handful of the pills around in his jittery palm. That depends, he smiled. How much you got on ya? His smile turned to a grin as he watched me plunge my hand into my pants pocket, pulling out my wallet, and from within it my last paycheck from the school. I've got a $300 check, I shrugged. That'll do, the old man said, snatching the check from my extended hand. Pleasure doing business with you. I assume I'll see you back here next week. Next week? I asked. Yeah. The man nodded, glancing around to the other men circling the two of us. Welcome to the club. I must have popped 3 of those pills on the drive back home. I knew I was running out of time with Jasmine. I had called her once and texted her twice to no avail. Should I call her again? She's probably with that dick from the coffee shop, a familiar voice said from the back seat. It was Cupid. Yeah, another similar sounding voice said next to me. That chick is only big enough for one dick, and it isn't his. Another Cupid cackled from the passenger seat. You got that right, third Cupid said from another back seat. I shook my head in disbelief. I mean, I didn't fully grasp the single Cupid yet, not to mention 3 of them. I'm definitely overdosing on whatever is in this stuff. Hey! One of them piped up from the back seat. We can hear you, you know. We are in your subconscious, so you best be conscious of that. Capiche? I nodded, gripping the steering wheel tighter. The one closest to me flew up to the wheel, gripping it with his micro baby hand. Oh no, you aren't going home yet, Chief. We still got work to do. What do you even mean? What am I supposed to do? I said, pulling the steering wheel in the opposite direction. What we mean is getting you laid, the Cupid from the back seat said, pressing his chubby cheeks between the window and my headrest. 'Cause if you don't get laid, I don't get to exist. I am your baby, after all. I thought you were the baby of gods. The little Cupid from the back seat looked directly at me from the rearview mirror. He leaned forward sternly. Tonight, Justin, he said, you are God, which makes us a couple of angels. I arrived at Jasmine's well past 8. At least, I hoped it was her place. I had never used a phone directory before. But if I did get it right, this would be the place. It looked like she wasn't home. I didn't see the car she drove from the coffee shop. I tried the cell 6 times. No answer. Try again, one of the Cupids said. I called 6 times, I snapped. It's about persistence, Cupid said. Fine, I shrugged. You do it then. I held the phone out and let it drop onto the back seat. Cupid crossed his arms and rolled his eyes. She's probably blocked you, Cupid said. I let the words sink in as I realised what a freak she thought I was. I had one chance and I let her go. Don't think like that, one of the other Cupids said. Women love this. Love what? I sniffled. The chase. You think she's going to make it easy on you? You got to get more aggressive, he said, drawing his bow. I flinched. Please don't. The Cupids, in succession, began bombarding me with arrows that forced me to shriek in agony. Physically, nothing happened, but the drug-induced shock of it all was mutilating. The front door of the Western residence opened to reveal who I assumed to be Jasmine's mom. Hello, can we help you? Hi, I said. I was just seeing if Jasmine was home. Mrs. Weston turned to her husband, who was standing just steps away behind the door. She turned back to me. Oh dear, you must be the young man from the coffee shop. I nodded. I was. Well, she already left for your little date. You just missed her, actually. I guess she thought you two had planned to meet there. And where would that be? Cupid said in my ear. Did she say where she was going? The woman turned to her husband, then back to me with arms folded inside her nightgown. The Caesar? On 4th Street? I thought she didn't like fancy pants restaurants, one of the Cupids said from behind me. I gleamed at the woman. I'm such a scatterbrain. Thank you, Mrs. Weston. It was a lovely dinner. For them. A passionate kiss was swapped. I couldn't stand it. That guy. And Jasmine. She wasn't meant for him. She was meant for me. I watched as they left the restaurant and snuggled into his car with their fancy clothes on, balling my fists up and holding back pained tears. Yeah, you sure showed them. one of the cupids said from behind me. What was I supposed to do, huh? I got the address. Like you said, I came to the damn restaurant. Now what? You know what? The smug cupid replied. My mind began filling with hundreds of ideas. I shook my head in opposition. No, no, I protested. I'm not listening to you guys anymore. Why not? Cupid said. If you don't, he will. Jasmine and Richard started down the dimly lit road. I followed behind them. She kissed his cheek as they trotted to the front door, his hand running up her blouse to her chest. Look at this guy, Cupid said, gesturing towards the couple with his baby thumb. We are sitting here in the outfield while Dick Les over there is already on second base. He's going for that home run. Another of the cupids winked. Shut up, I snapped. Let me think for a damn second. No more thinking, the third cupid said, flapping just before my face. Do something about it. They forgot to lock the front door in the heat of passion. It's not a surprise, but it saved me from having to smash through the window. In fact, it was so convenient that they didn't even hear me when I snuck into their bedroom. First Dick Les, Cupid whispered, nudging me with his wings and sending a chill down my spine. Then her. I nodded, pushing the closet door open and approaching from behind them. The bed was already sprawled with a dozen red rose petals, as if he already knew what he was getting into before the night even happened. A dozen petals lead to one giant heart-shaped pillow. Perfect. The pillow fit nicely across his face. It was just wide enough to keep the muffled screams to a minimum, especially under the jazzy tune emitting from the record player against the windowsill. Jasmine didn't expect a thing. She's probably slipping into something more comfortable, another cupid said above me as I hoisted Richard's limp body off of the bed, dragging it down the hall. Then I heard the sound of the bathroom door creaking open as Jasmine slipped into the dark bedroom. Richard, she teased, a real sexiness in her voice now. Are you hiding on me? Don't keep a girl waiting, even if we do love the chase. Called it, one of the cupids said, flying past me and glancing into the bedroom with curiosity. I followed suit, peering in. She was gorgeous, the dress tightly draping from her body, a dark rich colour of red coating her lips. I knew it was love at first sight. I knew it. Do it, Cupid said. I was beside myself with love, pushing the bedroom door open with a great big grin stretched across my face. Jasmine froze, seemingly in great fear. My face hung when she didn't reverberate my excitement. On the contrary, she grabbed a blanket from the bed and began covering herself. Justin, she feverishly said, eyes lined with mascara darting from side to side. What are you doing here? I came to be with you, I sighed. I'm sorry I was so awkward on our first date this morning, but I really think I'm warming up to love. I think I love you. All three cupids groaned from behind me. Jasmine didn't react. She was like a deer in headlights. Where's Richard? She said, glancing over my shoulder. My brows furrowed. Oh, Dick? Is that who you're worried about? Really? Because I just came this whole way to be with you, and you're treating me like we just met yesterday. We did, Jasmine said tensely. Yeah, but I feel like we've known each other our whole lives, just waiting for this. And here it is. Now we have it. We are together now. I smiled. Don't you want that? This? Me? Jasmine didn't answer me. Why didn't she answer me? Don't fuck this up, Cupid said from behind me. Jasmine started. I don't know what you're even talking about. I'm talking about us, you stupid bitch, I yelled, drowning out the jazz music completely. I caught my breath, holding on to it as I noticed Jasmine's trembling. She took a step back into the nightstand, nearly tripping. I reached out for her, but she recoiled. Make your fucking move already, Cupid sternly said in my ear. I nervously approached the beautiful woman, caressing her gently as she started sobbing. I took her by the hand, pulling her close and leaning in for a whisper. It's okay, I gently said. I've got you. I took hold of her and we began waltzing on that little patch of carpet next to the bed, the light crackle of jazz playing ever so romantically behind us. She was light on her feet, I must admit. It felt like I was dragging her, her weight growing heavier with each step. Jazz, I smiled. Lift your feet, I don't want to ruin your heels. I pulled her up some, trying to place her sturdily on the ground. She buckled. I looked into her eyes and noticed the paleness of her face. She was drained of her colour. Baby, what's wrong? Please don't hurt me. Do whatever you want. Just please, she cried, fainting further. Hurt you? I asked. I just want to love you, Jasmine. Her weight got too heavy and I let her droop, falling back down onto the bed of petals. Her body quivered as she sunk into the mattress. Now's your chance, kid, I heard Cupid's voice faintly say from behind me as I stood over Jasmine's body, her chest puffing up and down with each of her heavy breaths. I turned to face him but was left with nothing but empty walls behind me. The pills had worn off again. I retrieved another from my pocket, lifting the glistening redness of it to my lips and gazing down at the love of my life, stretched out across the bed, panting. So vulnerable, so beautiful. I excitedly swallowed down the pill, the arrow piercing me right in the gut as I waited for the god of love to return back to me. And I hope you enjoy the blooper reel. You know, I can't help but... I come to you in the form... Good. Then you're gonna go get... Nearly knocking into... And you're about to let the only woman that you'd let... Let me... He nervously smiled. And it isn't him. Mrs. Weston turned to her husband, who was smiling, just... Hey family, please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to chokehold that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. And by subscribing, you'll be the first to see all of our new spooky creepypasta stories. A very big thank you to Mac Ralston for allowing me to narrate this awesome story. Make sure to check out their creepypasta fandom page for more brilliant stories. And be sure to take a look at their playlist here for more of their stories that I may have already narrated. I would just like to say a very big thank you to all of the authors that I have worked with and all the ones that I will work with in the future. So thank you all, my brothers and sisters. And why not hashtag Cryptids Roost in your comments. a quick thank you to all of my Cryptids Roost community family too. We are now well on our journey to 1,000 subscribers. So please spread the word and help us to grow and expand. And don't forget to share the videos too. If you would like to throw me $1 or $3, I'd be very much appreciative. I do have PayPal, paypal.me/cryptidsroost. Alternatively, I have an account at buymeacoffee.com. You don't even need to register on either site to donate. You can also follow me at my Facebook group, Twitter and Instagram. I also have Ko-Fi and BitChute. I have a subreddit if you have a story you would like me to read for you. All relevant links will be below, and don't forget to check out the end screen, see above, that will also list some more videos in my back catalogue. Take care everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful and peaceful night. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness
is not.